Recording in progress.
Good evening. It is now 6 p.m. and I'd like to call the Richland County Special Called May 14th, 2024 meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you take the roll, please?
Brenham,
Here.
Pugh, McBride, Livingston, Teratio,
Here.
Weaver,
Here.
Barron,
Here.
Walker, Mackey,
Here.
English, Newton.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please let the record show Ms. English contacted me and she is on her way. She's just running a few minutes late. Next item on the agenda is the invocation. Councilwoman Gretchen Barron, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tonight, we are privileged to have Reverend Glenn Wigfall from Haskell Heights Baptist Church, located in District 7, who will bring our invocation tonight.
Good evening, Council, all esteemed members, and we thank God for the opportunity to address you and to pray for your meeting tonight. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come and experience another day that we've had the privilege of enjoying your grace, your mercy, your peace, your loving kindness. We ask, oh God, as we pause tonight, just to do the affairs of this county, of this state, Lord God, of this jurisdiction that you've given us privilege to govern. We ask, oh God, for your wisdom. We ask, God, for your strength tonight. We ask that your cooperation would be in the room. Just visit us with your presence so that we could accomplish the business at hand, Lord God, with ease and with skill. We ask your blessing upon each of the members of this council and all the affairs of their lives, and that you would bring peace, power, and protection to our jurisdiction. We ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Whitall. At this time, if you'll stand with me for the pledge.
Next item on the agenda is presentation of resolutions. We have 4A, resolution recognizing Dr. Ronald Raines, President of Midlands Technical College, for his years of service and upcoming retirement. And then 4B, a resolution honoring National Law Enforcement Week, May 12th through 18th, 2024. So, are we entertaining a motion for these two? Thank you.
So moved, Madam Chair. Second.
I have a motion and a second for 4A and B, and then there is an additional resolution that we received that needs to be added to the agenda. A resolution recognizing Emergency Medical Service EMS Week of May 19th through 25th, 2024. I'm sorry, we had a motion and a second for 4A and B. And we were in discussion where I was informed we had an additional one that we added. So if I can have someone amend that motion, please, to add 4C.
I'll accept a friendly amendment.
Thank you. Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
Livingston, Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
English, Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Who's reading for?
Our PIO office will be
Thank you,
reading the
so-
proclamations.
Director O'Kane, you're right.
Thank you. A resolution recognizing Dr. Ronald L. Raines. whereas Dr. Rames has been a vital member of the Midlands Technical College community for more than 35 years, serving as a student and employee. And whereas Dr. Rames notably became the inaugural graduate to ascend to the presidency of any South Carolina college, marking a historic milestone as the first African-American president of Midlands Technical College. And whereas Dr. Rames has served in many capacities in his role, he has had many honors bestowed upon him throughout his tenure, to include being inducted into the Richland County School District 1 Hall of Fame in Columbia, South Carolina in January 2017. Dr. Rames was also presented the 2022 Excellence in Education Award by the Columbia, South Carolina chapter of the NAACP for his many contributions to the field of education. And whereas President Dr. Rames is Midland Technical College's Chief Executive Officer, and Dr. Rames has served on numerous boards and committees, he has been recognized on many occasions throughout the community due to his outstanding leadership and extensive devotion to education. And whereas Dr. Rames not only serves as president of Midlands Technical College, he has also worked extensively with the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges. And whereas the forthcoming retirement of Dr. Rames in 2024 commemorates over 35 years of unwavering dedication to education, community service, and leadership. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Richland County Council members Jason Branham, Derek Pugh, Yvonne McBride, Paul Livingston, Allison Terracio, Don Weaver, Gretchen Barron, Overture Walker, Jessica Mackey, Cheryl English, and Shakese Newton acknowledge the commendable efforts and achievements of Dr. Rames for his commitment to enhancing the quality of education for Midlands Technical College and all residents of Richland County, and for the many years he has committed to this community.
Dr. Rames, if you want to come down and say a few words.
Madam Chair, I'm still president, so we always want to have a few words. That's just in our nature. I want to thank the council for this incredible recognition. I mentioned earlier during the budget hearing how important this relationship has been to our college and especially to our students. And I said then that the council over the years have been incredibly supportive of the college and myself. I cannot think of an occasion when I came to you and asked you to support the college and its mission, be it a special project or budgets and those kind of things, and you all have always responded positively. And so that relationship is really critically important to the college and our students and to our community. And so I thank you for that. Madam Chair, I have a few members of my supportive staff and board here. I want to introduce them if you don't mind. I want to ask the board chair, Ms. Sandra Jackson, to stand and be recognized. And then I have some of my executive staff members to stand. Would you all please stand? And some of the staff members that are here with us this afternoon. No person do anything by themselves, and in fact, I take credit for all the great work that they do. And so I am very, very humbled because of the great work that they do on behalf of this county and our students. So I am very grateful for this award. So thank you very much. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Good comments. I recognize Mr. Livingston.
Thank you very much. Dr. Rames, it's just been an absolute general just pleasure and honor to work and serve with you over the years. I won't say how many it was mentioned in the resolution, but having served at least all those years with you, except for two of them, the last two. But what a commitment you made to the citizens of Richland County. What a commitment you've made, an unwavering commitment you've made to the students of Midland Technical College. It's countless lives that you've changed. I mean, countless lives that you've changed. The tremendous economic impact you made on our community, I think, is tremendous. The jobs you have us to create. We have a tremendous tax base because of what you all do at the college. Just simply want to say just thank you for what you've done for the overall quality of life for all the citizens in Richland County. I mean, this is well deserved.
I recognize Vice Chair Pugh.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Raines, I just want to say thank you for everything that you've done for us here in Richland County. And I wasn't going to say this, but I am going to say it. You're probably the only head of a millage agency that call us outside budget season. So I appreciate that, and thank you for when I first got on council, you scheduled a meeting to sit down and talk with us and just tell us some of the things that Midlands Tech has done over the years, and I just appreciate you and your leadership. Thank you, sir.
Madam Chair.
I recognize Councilwoman Newton.
Thank you. And my colleagues have already said a lot of great things about the work that you've done for economic development and the lives that you change through the lives of students. So without repeating that, I'll just say that I had the honor of working with you as a Midlands Technical College employee. And while it is 100% true, the difference that you make in the lives of the students and the difference that you make in the lives of our citizens, you also make a difference for the lives of all of the employees who work at Midlands Technical College. And it was truly, as a person who only gives compliments that are deserved, it was truly wonderful to work under your leadership and to see someone who was not just passionate, but really tireless in your hard work, and also just setting a role model of what good leadership looks like. And so thank you for everything that you've done, and for everyone, and also for me personally, for some of the most rewarding work I've ever done in my life. It is wonderful to have an opportunity to praise you. It's bittersweet that you're leaving, but I can accept that you deserve it. So thank you, Dr. Raines.
Madam Chair?
I recognize Council.
Thank you. So I'll just keep the comments going without having to repeat. And I think that it lends to say that when you come into a space, you've known a person outside of being an elected official, and then come into a space as an elected official, and to see the consistency of your leadership and your knowledge and wisdom really is paramount, because a lot of times you meet people and they're one way, and then when they say, oh, you're elected official now, then they turn on another hat. For you, sir, I think it's consistent, and it says volumes to your leadership, but I think it also says volumes to the legacy that you will leave at MTC. Thank you.
Dr. Raines, stick around. We'll do photo op in just a minute. All right. Next item is 4B, a resolution honoring National Law Enforcement Week, May 12th through 18th, 2024. Director O'Kane.
Thank you. Whereas the men and women of Richland County law enforcement tirelessly, honorably, and commendably dedicate their lives to protecting and serving our community. And whereas their unwavering commitment to maintaining law and order ensures the safety and security of our citizens. And whereas the selfless acts of bravery and courage exhibited by our law enforcement officers in the face of danger and while facing unique challenges inspire great admiration and gratitude among our residents. And whereas the sacrifices made by our police officers and their families and those who support them wholeheartedly, as well as those who have lost their lives in the line of duty for the safety and protection of others, deserve our utmost respect and appreciation. And whereas the observance of Law Enforcement Week provides an opportunity to honor the invaluable contributions of our law enforcement officers, both past and present. And whereas this week-long recognition serves as a reminder of the tremendous role that our police officers play in preserving peace, protecting our constitutional rights, and upholding justice. And whereas by acknowledging Law Enforcement Week, we express our deep gratitude for law enforcement officers' tireless service and the profound impact they have on our daily lives. Now therefore be it resolved, Richland County Council members Jason Branham, Derek Pugh, Yvonne McBride, Paul Livingston, Allison Teresa, Don Weaver, Gretchen Barron, Overture Walker, Jessica Mackey, Cheryl English, and Shakese Newton hereby proclaim the week of May 12th through the 18th, 2024, as Law Enforcement Week in Richland County. We encourage all residents, businesses, and community organizations to join Richland County Council in expressing sincere appreciation for our law enforcement officers' dedication, courage, and sacrifice. Let us honor their professionalism and commendable service, acknowledging the critical role they play in making our community a safer place.
Deputy Chief Paulus?
Madam Chairwoman, Richland County Council, thank you for having us tonight. On behalf of Sheriff Lott and all of the deputies who serve this great county, I want to thank you for the recognition. Sheriff Lott couldn't be here today. He is in D.C. as Deputy Jacob Saurin's name is inscribed on the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Wall. That's happening this week, so this is particularly important for us this week as we remember. You talked about sacrifice, the sacrifice that Deputy Saurin made for all of us, citizens of Richland County. So on behalf of the sheriff and everybody who works here, we really appreciate it and thank you.
Thank you. You're recognized, Councilwoman Barron.
Thank you. So I just want to just say for the record that I think that we have some of the finest people that work at Richland County Sheriff's Department, and it says volumes to our leadership that we have, because he continues to be voted not just the sheriff of South Carolina, number one sheriff in South Carolina, but in some cases Southeast, and in some cases the whole country. So for that, you know, we take our hats off to Sheriff Lott and all the deputies that keep us safe each day, and for that we appreciate you. Thank you.
Recognized Vice Chair Pugh.
Thank you, ma'am. I just want to say thank you, sir, for you, your staff, and everybody, for everything that y'all do for Richland County. We feel safe here in Richland County, and I want to stress that we feel safe, and that's the most important thing, especially when you live in your day-to-day lives. We don't have to think about things because we know y'all are taking care of us. So thank you for all the sacrifice that y'all make, the time away from your families, and all the extracurricular stuff that y'all do to make sure we're safe. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You're recognized, Ms. English.
I just want to say thank you. I have the largest area. We serve the same number of people, but I have the largest area, which equates to more neighborhoods. And at every neighborhood meeting, you all have a presence there, and it's personable. You make sure the citizens, as my colleague said, are safe, but they go a step further and they provide their personal cell phone numbers so that they can be reached at any time. And it makes such a great difference. When I came to, as I was growing up in Richland County and Sheriff Lott came, I was burglarized, and it took the police probably about 45 minutes to get there after I got home. When Sheriff Lott was installed, it took them 5. So it speaks volumes to our area, to all that you all are doing. And I just want to say thank you for the personal touch you give to the citizens of Richland County. Thank you so much.
Thank you for all you all do. Next is item 4C, the Emergency Medical Service Week, May 19th through the 25th. Whereas emergency medical service professionals provide a vital public service to the citizens and visitors of Richland County, and well-trained and highly qualified emergency medical professionals maintain a constant readiness, enabling them to respond quickly and effectively to those in need, as demonstrated during numerous disasters and daily emergencies. And whereas access to professional emergency medical service dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury, Richland County's emergency medical service consists of more than 200 emergency medical technicians, paramedics, physicians, and administrators. Richland County Emergency Medical Service is one of the busiest EMS systems in the state. And whereas May 19th through the 25th of 2024 has been proclaimed National Emergency Medical Service Week. Now therefore, we, Richland County Council members, Jason Branham, Derek Pugh, Yvonne McBride, Paul Livingston, Allison Terratio, Don Weaver, Gretchen Barron, Overture Walker, Jessica Mackey, Shakise Newton, and Cheryl English do hereby recognize and honor all Richland County Emergency Medical Service employees for the many contributions and the dedication for caring for their fellow citizens suffering from sudden illness or traumatic injury on this day of May 14th, 2024. Director Byrd.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of council, about 90,000 times a year, your EMS workers have an opportunity to go out there and make a difference in somebody's life. And there's a ripple effect with that. We could be saving somebody's husband, somebody's wife, somebody's daughter, son, and it's an extraordinary feeling to be the one that stands between somebody living and dying, and that happens every day. We have a great workforce that they work very hard every day. So I want to thank you for the recognition, and we will make sure that we present this to our workforce during our normal in-service and employee meetings. So thank you very much.
Thank you. You're recognized, Councilwoman Barron.
Yeah, so it goes without saying, I think that, of course, by my speaking, I think we need to give people their flowers. And so I will continue to say thank you, Director Byrd, because I think you said it best. You all respond to a time of crisis that is a matter of life and death. And we applaud the Sheriff's Department, but alongside of the Sheriff's Department is our EMS staff members. And I think the two work hand in hand, and where one group keeps us safe, the other one keeps us healthy and keep us alive. So I do appreciate all that you and your staff do.
Vice Chair Pugh.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Director Byrd, I want to thank you for your leadership and everything that your EMS department does. Just like my colleague just said, it goes hand in hand. And so we can't lift up the Sheriff's Department without lifting up EMS. You guys work hand in hand together, and I appreciate everything y'all do for Richland County.
Okay, we are now going, oh wait, we have let's do the proclamation first, and then we'll do everybody's photo at that time. So item 5 is Presentation of Proclamations, a proclamation recognizing the United States Tennis Association of South Carolina and Columbia Tennis Association of Richland County. Director O'Kane.
Thank you. Whereas tennis is a popular sport that provides a strong foundation for fitness and helps develop coordination, flexibility, and strength while fostering self-esteem, character, confidence. And whereas over the past few years, tennis has gained millions of new players, the largest growth of any sport during that time frame. And whereas research indicates that more than 22 million Americans play tennis, and the sport has enjoyed unprecedented growth in recent years. And whereas Tennis Month provides an opportunity to showcase local programs and activities at Richland County parks and facilities to help players of all levels find programming in their communities. And whereas, with the increasing accessibility to tennis for the citizens of Richland County and communities across the nation of all ages and abilities, the USTA has contributed to making our community happier and healthier. And whereas the USTA has declared the month of May as National Tennis Month to encourage players, organizations, facilities, retailers, tennis manufacturers, and more to promote local programs and activities at parks and facilities to showcase the sport of tennis and spread the word about its benefits to the community. Now therefore be it proclaimed that Richland County Council members Jason Branham, Derek Pugh, Allison Terratio, Don Weaver, Gretchen Barron, Jessica Mackey, Cheryl English, and Shakise Newton proudly recognize May 2024 as National Tennis Month and encourage citizens of Richland County, South Carolina, and across the state to become aware of and support National Tennis Month.
And Ms. Smith, you can come say a few words now.
I am so honored to be around all these esteemed guests. Dr. Raines, congratulations to you and thank you to EMS and to our law enforcement. It's just a pleasure to be here. May is National Tennis Month, and I thank you all for helping us celebrate. Special thanks to Board Chair Jessica Mackey, who responded to my proclamation request within 5 minutes. I was so impressed. And almost all of you all responded, and I thank you so much. USTA South Carolina's mission is to improve lives by developing and promoting the growth of tennis. Did you know more than 70% of the 23 million players that play the game of tennis play out of public parks? Tennis is a sport that can be learned at a young age and played for a lifetime. Tennis is one of the few sports in which you can have 3 generations playing together. It is truly a family sport. The United States Tennis Association, USTA South Carolina, and Columbia Tennis Association are committed to investing in the building and renovation of public tennis facilities in Richland County and the growth of tennis programming and for new and current players. We need our tennis courts in good condition in order to provide for our children and families across the county. We need our tennis courts in good condition in order to stimulate economic growth in our county. Just so you know, Mobile, Alabama, uses its large tennis facility to generate more than $30 million in economic growth per year. The sport of tennis can make a difference in the lives of people across Richland County. Tennis can improve schools and communities, increase property values, provide opportunities for all youth, spur economic growth, and improve the quality of life for all its residents. My name is Nan Smith. I'm the immediate past president of USTA South Carolina and a Richland County resident. I'm joined tonight by Hall of Famer Domino Ballware. Please stand when I call your name. Melvie Harris, Brian Reeves, Vannie Simmons, and Susan Turner, who is president of Columbia Tennis Association. These thoughts I've shared with you this evening are just a glimpse into why we're so passionate about our sport. Let's work together to enrich the lives of Richland County residents through the sport of tennis. We stand ready to offer financial support and work with you. Let's do this together. Thank you for your time, and thank you for declaring May as National Tennis Month in Richland County.
Thank you. All right, so we will go in order of resolutions and proclamations, and we'll meet over.
Madam Chair.
I hear somebody. Who is it?
We'd like to say a couple words.
Of course you would. I'll let you go first. Councilman Branham.
Thank you so much. I was, it was a fight. I feel like it was a fight on county council to get on team tennis with this proclamation tonight, which is a great problem to have. We're all excited and proud. I've been a member of the United States Tennis Association since I was probably 11 years old. Still am now. And I will say, I played an adult sectional tournament in Mobile, Alabama at that facility. If there is a place that would make Columbia, South Carolina come across as cool and refreshing, it's Mobile, Alabama. So we'd love to see more regional stuff up this way. Grew up playing out in Lower Richland. Kaufman Road Park was my home tennis courts. And for sure, as a youth, standing out there on that tennis court by myself, trying to figure things out and strategize with limited or no coaching was a great exercise and preparation for life skills. And as an adult, I've found it, and I know many other people have found it a great way to network and to make friends generally. So no question, tennis is a sport for a lifetime. You really only need one other person to play, and you're off to the races. So happy to recognize it this May.
Thank you. Councilwoman Barron.
Thank you. So, Jason here likes to fight about the tennis proclamation because I'm not a member of the USTA yet. Myself and Councilwoman Newton, we're the newbies that was read about in the proclamation. But I found it quite enlightening, and as I think I said this last year, when we were redoing the courts at Park Lane, and I mean, I saw this group right here, and I thought, who are these people? I want to be a part of those people because they look really good. And then when just to have a conversation with them and to then learn about the sport and take lessons, and so much so that I enjoyed it, that it's now part of our regular programming for my company, because I believe that providing a new opportunity for sports for our young people, not the football, not the basketball, they're great, but something new provides them a new hope and a new avenue. So I appreciate all the work that USTA does in our community, and I appreciate their advocacy, because that's how really we were able to pull off getting those tennis courts done, because they went to work and said, hey, we need these courts fixed. And so keep advocating for your courts and keep advocating for the sport. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Rames, would you meet us over? Thank you.
Got a good flash, you're good. Thank you.
Just stay in your spot.
Yeah, Mr. Pew, yeah.
Thank y'all. Thank you. Y'all come play tennis.
Everyone here, everybody can see me. 3, 2, 1. All right. Just hang on to that pose. I'm going to shoot more. Just one more, folks.
One more. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Look up. There you go. Good job. Makes us look young.
Next, item 6 is approval of minutes from regular session, May 7th, 2024.
So move, Madam Chair.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Pugh. Livingston.
Yes.
Teratio.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Walker. Mackey.
Yes.
English.
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Pugh.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Next is adoption of the agenda. Administrator Brown, any additions, deletions?
I received no request for changes, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Move for adoption, Madam Chair.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Branham.
Yes.
Pugh.
Yes.
Livingston.
Yes.
Teratio.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Walker. Mackey.
Yes.
English.
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next is item 8, report of the attorney for executive session items. Attorney McLean?
Thank you, Chair Mackey. There are no items on the agenda tonight for executive session, but I will note that just in case there are questions on item 15A, that Ray Jones is here.
Thank you so much. Next is item 9A, citizens input for items on the agenda not requiring a public hearing. Vice Chair Pugh, did anyone sign up this evening to speak?
No, ma'am, no one signed up to speak.
Thank you. Item 10, citizens input must pertain to Richland County matters not on the agenda. Items for which a public hearing is required or a public hearing has been scheduled cannot be addressed at this time. Vice Chair Pugh?
No one signed up to speak, ma'am.
Thank you. Next, item 11, report of the county administrator. Administrator Brown, you're recognized.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of council, I have one item, and this item really is just an update to provide information for you. If you look at page 16, I'm going to read very briefly a couple of paragraphs. At its November 1st, 2022 regular session meeting, County Council approved the design and construction for a new elevated water tank for the Southeast Richland area to address existing and future customer needs and provide redundancy for the existing water tank in the lower Richland area. The county has entered into a contract to purchase approximately 1.25 acres from the Gadsden Community Club, which is a nonprofit located adjacent to the existing city-county fire station number 19 on Gadsden Community Center Road, near the intersection of Convery Road and Carton Street. This property is ideally located to provide water for the fire department and increases the capacity of the water system. And the reason why I'm providing you this information, even though as the county administrator, this fully falls under my purview, I want anytime that there's property that the county has in its possession to go through a process where it can be followed and tracked in the official minutes. So there's no action required of county council. And literally this briefing is so that I can put in the record that the county will now have this property. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Administrator Brown. Any questions regarding the administrator's report? You recognize Councilwoman English.
I want to thank Bill Davis and his staff for coming out to the community and making sure the community is aware of everything that has been going on. And we've been working out there. They've had several meetings, and I just want to say thank you for, as we say, the transparency that goes on in Richland County. And just thank you for the work that you continue to do.
Thank you. That does conclude my report, Madam Chair.
Item 12, report of the Clerk of Council. Madam Clerk, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have sent an email to full council regarding an update for the Strategic Planning Forum, and the majority have responded to designate January the 15th to the 17th, 2025 as a meeting date. So I will request for the council to please approve that day, as well as to designate a location.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion for the date.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, Madam Clerk.
Branham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride, Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio, Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker, Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The additional item the clerk is requesting is location for strategic planning forum. I know council members have provided several recommendations, and so those will be narrowed in a list for folks to make a final decision on and be emailed to you. All right. Madam Clerk, anything else under your report?
No, ma'am, that concludes my report.
Next is the report of the chair. I do not have any items this afternoon to report on. Next is 14, approval of consent items. 14A, case number 24-006 MA, Sam. Open space to R2, 0.04 acres, Windermere Village, TMS number R20510-02-03, portion of. This is third reading for this item. You recognize, Mr. Walker.
Approve.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Madam Clerk?
Branham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
Livingston, Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Next is item 15A, second reading items. Authorizing the imposition of a 1% transportation sales and use tax within Richland County pursuant to Section 4-37-30 of the Code of Laws of South Carolina 1976, as amended, determining 1, the categories of projects to be funded with the tax, 2, the maximum time for imposition of the tax, and 3, the estimated capital costs of the projects, directing the Board of Voter Registration and Elections of Richland County to conduct a countywide referendum on the imposition of the tax and the issuance of general obligation bonds, prescribing the contents of the ballot questions and other related matters.
Madam Chair,
You recognize Councilman Branham.
I'd like to move to approve with a couple of proposed amendments, just the version that's in the packet. And the motion is to amend so that 60% on the allocation would go to county advancement projects, 20% to common enhancement projects, and 20% to community investment projects. The second part of the amendment would add a provision that at least $20 million from the community investment projects category and the county advancement projects category be spent on improvements within each county council district.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Point of order, Madam Chair.
You recognize.
I don't know if this motion is premature. We haven't even made it to item 18 on the agenda where we get into the recommendations from the Transportation Ad Hoc Committee.
Thank you, Councilman Walker. So I would ask Attorney Wright or Administrator Brown to provide direction related to the point of order about discussion of the second reading item at this point in the agenda.
Thank you, Chair Mackey. The item is on the agenda where it was placed. It's in correct order. I have no problem going forward and letting you take the vote as it's a motion, a vote on the motion that's on the floor. This item could always be reconsidered later in the agenda if you want to change your mind about something, and it's only second reading, so you still have time to make changes at a later date.
County Attorney has spoken, so.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
we have a discussion.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I just like to say I support Councilman Branham's motion because I think I'm doing some back of the envelope math here. If each district got 25 million times 11 districts, that's not even 7% of $4 billion that we're devoting. And, you know, we've talked before about geographical equity, and I know a lot of constituents in my district felt like, and I understand every district can't get the same amount. I'm totally good with that. Some districts are developed more than others, totally get that. But every district needs sidewalks. I mean, sidewalks can go in every of our districts. So I think in order for us to go back to our constituents and say, hey, at least we're getting 20 million, 25 million, whatever the committee decides, I think that would be a good bond, if you will, with the people of Richland County. I mean, I got folks carrying groceries home from Walmart on Purcellville Road without a sidewalk. I mean, so we all can use sidewalks. And I think that's just a covenant we make with the voters to go back there before the November vote. So I strongly support this motion. Thank you.
Councilwoman Terratio, Newton, Barron, Livingston.
Thank you. So I'm a little bit surprised. I had not heard of this this proposed amendment, and find that the 60-20-20 is, not just a minor change, but probably a pretty major change. I will also say that as far as district level equity, I think that's I'm very interested in having further discussion about that because I know that for the district that I serve, every time I talk to neighborhoods about what they're looking for, they are looking for these local improvements for mostly pedestrian safety and some other safety features as well. So I will not be able to support this allocation because I'm prepared to make a motion that would include the COMETS portion being 25% and then the remainder allocated in a way that suits the body. But looking at the requested numbers from the COMET, I am prepared to make a motion that would put that allocation at 25%. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Newton.
Wow. So my my first question really is if you could just repeat your motion. There's a lot of changes going on and I feel like I missed some of them. So what exactly are we discussing?
Maker of the motion, could you please repeat
Oh,
You
sure.
want to say it motion?
Yeah, just cutting it way down to the basics. It's 60% to county advancement projects category, 20% to community investment projects, 20% to comment enhancement projects, and then a minimum investment for each county council district to receive $20 million between community investment projects and/or county advancement projects.
And then, if I may, to the maker of the motion, because I'm processing this or trying to, as you look at the $20 million allocation that you're proposing per district, are you proposing that these be projects that are separate from the projects that are already imagined for certain districts? Are these additional? Is it subtractive? How does that work?
Madam Chair?
Recognize.
They would not be new. They would just be ensuring that each district benefited from, the calculus or the needs that are already in between those two categories to the tune of at least $20 million. No new spending, just some minimum geographic equity in the spending.
Thank you.
Aaron?
Thank you. While I do support this motion, and Councilman Brandon and I have had some conversation, my priority would be that the majority of our funds would remain in the community investment projects as well as the county investment projects. I fully support the comment and note that it is needed. But just this morning, I was driving down Turkey Farm Road, and from Wilson Boulevard, Turkey Farm Road, to my subdivision, I saw 6 young people walking to Westwood High School on the road and in a very dangerous spot where easily, if a car is not paying attention, they could have gotten hit. This afternoon, coming here down Wilson Boulevard, something very similar by Keenan High School. Having the investment in the community is important. I don't know, I put a lot of thought into projects that I would like to see in my district. I put them forward when we had the road show earlier this year. And only to note that, I'm not sure where they are in the scheme of things, but I'm concerned whether or not District 7 would get its fair chance. So having the equity, having the $20 million to note that at least $20 million would be spent in District 7, I can support that because we do note that, as Councilman Weaver said, there are large projects, downtown, those things, we know that those projects we need to fund, but we also need to make sure that we're funding dirt roads. We need to make sure that we're funding the greenway projects and bikeways, but it can't be an afterthought. We need to be intentional about where we put our funds. And so I will support it. I told Councilman Brandon, I really had another idea set forth, but I'll just leave it alone. And, just note that I do support this, and I hope that, our colleagues would do so as well, because the priority when we go to the residents, we don't want them to say that this is just the same old penny, but we want them to be able to see the investment that we're setting forth that puts those dollars back into their community and that they can be proud to support. Thank you.
Livingston?
I'd like to make a substitute motion, and that is to do 50% with our community advancement, 25% with community investment, and 25% with the comment. And I'm okay with the idea of a minimum of 20 million for each district. That's my substitute motion.
A second for discussion.
Thank you. You have a second? Any further discussion regarding the substitute motion?
Madam Chair.
You recognize.
Okay, first, so again, for one more time, Paul.
50% for community advancement, 25% community investment, and 25% for the common. County advancement, yeah.
I did get that. And I guess I just feel compelled to say as we have this conversation, because representing one of the areas that clearly feels that we didn't get a lot of the benefit that we expected from the first penny, when you look at the math, I certainly support ways that make sure that we do that. I guess I just feel compelled to say that as we are still in this process of determining things, I feel like there are a lot of decisions yet to be made where this is not our only opportunity to enshrine how we're going to do these things that take care of our community. Because, I mean, you don't have time for my stories about people walking on roads where they don't have sidewalks, or, you know, you cross Garner's Ferry Road if you want to on an afternoon and see how that feels. So I guess I just want to say, whatever we do here, there's a lot more that needs to be done, but that we also have the structure in this process, that there's a lot more that can be done to make sure that we're taking care of these areas, because I know that I, for one, would expect to see a lot more things that happen in District 11. I guess I don't feel like it's this either or, because we've deliberately tried to set up this process so that we can take care of community needs.
Thank you, Ms. Newton. And I want to chime in on just a few things that have been said. And I think one of the reasons early on that Councilman Walker called for just the point of order in general is that many of the things being discussed right now were discussed in Transportation Ad Hoc Committee meeting that some of colleagues attended and some did not. But there is a lot more detail gone into the current ordinance, draft ordinance that is here, that I think you would have heard during the Transportation Ad Hoc Committee report. Also really giving a better understanding of, Ms. Terratio mentioned the comment and their needs and how much they've asked for, and then also really laying out the process moving forward. This proposed transportation penny and the process that the council has gone through is not like our other one. That is, you are correct, Ms. Barron, it is not like our previous penny. This one, we have as a body worked to provide transparency along the way. We have had multiple public meetings. Matter of fact, we've had over 20 at the beginning of this year to get feedback, and we're continuing to get that feedback and engagement. And this second reading is really to put it out to the public with enough time so folks can see it, digest it, and give us feedback. And I really would like to hear feedback from the public as we get ready to have our public hearing that's coming up as well, and to not necessarily put all of those changes in right now until we really have heard the feedback from the public. And so I do think there's a lot of context that maybe for some of our colleagues has been missed because we did not have the Transportation Ad Hoc report first. So I want to make sure we all are aware of that. As Ms. Newton stated, there are a lot more processes that we have not finalized yet, and we may be jumping the gun to really kind of put all this in stone at this very moment. Ms. Terratio, then Mr. Pugh.
Point of order, Madam Chair. I had a motion, there was a substitute motion and a second. So now we're just going into debate and discussion on the substitute motion without taking a vote on whether the substitute motion should be on the floor?
Oh, I guess you're right. We've had discussion now for about 5 minutes.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean, that's the point of order. That's all I'm asking.
Yes.
So debate is ceased on my motion.
Yes.
All right, just by a substitute motion and a second.
Robert's Rules of Order.
All right. Thank you.
I just will take a moment and reiterate my point that while we're talking about amounts, that even numbers such as 50% for advancement and is still much greater than I would have expected in terms of the kinds of feedback. I know that I represent one district out of 11 and that other people are dealing with a lot of growth. And so that is something that is being heavily considered as people weigh in here. But again, I think we all hear so much about safety for people. And when we're thinking about putting in these big, wide roads for people to go fast on, that's not necessarily improving, doing a lot to improve safety. It may help some people get to work faster. It may help some trucks get in faster. And I know that that's needed, and there's a balance that we need to strike. And so that's why I just wanted to make a statement around how 50% still seems quite high.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I have more of a statement. I can understand my colleagues wanting to kind of nail down some percentages, and I do understand the equity with the $20 million because we serve in communities where people feel that they didn't get their fair share of the deal when we had our last penny, and I think it's vital that we address that. And so I also feel that we need to listen to the recommendations from the Transportation Committee so we can make a solid decision going forward. That's all I got, ma'am.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Can Ms. and other folks that
Sorry.
already?
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Councilman Weaver?
I just wanted the math repeated, so I'm sure what I'm voting on. 25% comment, 50% community improvement, and 25% was expansion? What was the last one?
The motion?
Yeah, your motion.
It was 50% advancement, 25% community investment, and 25% comment.
Okay, thank you.
Move to table this motion until after the Transportation Ad Hoc Committee recommendations.
Attorney?
Yeah, we already have a substitute motion on the floor.
Okay.
So you'd have to deal with one of those first and then make a motion to defer until after the, but you gotta take something up right now.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Councilman Branham?
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to state, the reason that I went in that direction of the heavier investment towards county advancement projects is partly because we know that the DOT is focused on bridges and interstates and at the state level. And so, if the residents of Richland County are looking for major improvements that will significantly increase capacity and flow on major thoroughfares that are not interstates, it's gonna have to come from Richland County, and that there is no robust county transportation department that's capable of affording that sort of thing without a penny. And so if we're going to make the investment in that penny, I would really like to see the major allocation go to those substantial projects, for one, because they benefit such large parts of the population, and additionally, they cost so much just in nature. To pave 1 mile of a 5-lane highway costs a lot more money than to pave 1 mile of sidewalks. And so that's why I'm looking to make that greater investment towards those larger projects. Certainly, the current terms as proposed are for a 25-year term overall for $4.5 billion. So as we discussed percentages, while 20% may sound like a small number, it's $900 million of $4.5 billion. So the state is not coming to save the day when it comes to increasing capacity on major thoroughfares. So if the county wants that, the residents of the county, that's how they step up. They vote in support of this penny with a larger allocation towards county advancements. I also support Comet being supported financially in a significant way, which it would be with the 20% allocation as it has been for the last 12 years by the county penny transportation tax as well.
Madam Chair, may I be recognized?
Recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of things I would like to say as I'm listening to the conversation. I certainly agree with your sentiments, Councilman Branham, about DOT and their emphasis right now being placed on interstates. I think their focus is widening I-26 from Columbia up to, I call it that juncture where you can go to Spartanburg or go to Greenville, and their focus is on widening I-26 from Columbia to Charleston, and that's badly needed. And we're in a county that's growing, and growing in areas where you have these secondary roads that are state roads, i.e. Hardscrabble Road, right? Blythewood Road or Killian and so on. Rima Pond, the list goes on and on and on and on. And while I certainly understand the importance of perhaps the county providing DOT almost with the pot of funds to be able to make the necessary improvements to those roads, again, because these are areas where we're seeing a lot of growth. People don't live off of interstates. They live off of a lot of these secondary roads, right? But if we're saying that we want people to feel like this is their penny, I don't believe that residents are going to go for another penny if they feel like it's DOT's penny, right? Or if they feel like the lion's share of the investment is being made on roads where they don't live. While I certainly understand, that we need to make that we have to make the investment when it comes to a lot of these secondary roads, which is why we talked about county advancement. But it also goes beyond, just secondary roads. We're talking like Shot Road Extension, right? As far as that being opened up for economic development, Mark Anthony Bruin, and the like. But I think if we're going to learn any of the lessons from the previous penny is that, there's a sentiment that people felt like it just didn't work for them. Now, that can be debated, but I think if we want the confidence of residents going forward with respect to keeping a penny on the books, I think that needs to be reflected in the percentage. And for me, that would be more of an emphasis on community investment projects. Again, county advancement, that's important, but I think community investment is where you probably get more buy-in from the public if they know that their dirt road is getting paved, or if they're getting a sidewalk, to Ms. Barron's point, or if their streets are getting resurfaced. Another reason why I feel like this conversation right now is a little premature at this stage of the meeting is because we talked about ad nauseum in terms of the scope or the number of years of the penny during the Transportation Ad Hoc Committee meeting. We're throwing out percentages. We're saying, well, we ought to do 60%. We should do 50%. We've yet to talk about the duration of the penny. Because if we're talking 25 years at, if my memory serves me correctly, $4.3 billion, well, 20%, that's that amount is pretty significant. But what if we decide once we get to item 18 on the agenda tonight that folks would rather just vote on 20 years? Well, that number is $3.6 billion. So now we would be talking about a higher percentage for the comment, right? Rather than 20%, 25%. Or maybe some of my colleagues may say we'd rather have a 15-year penny at $2.2 billion. Well, that means the percentage could go up, but some colleagues may feel more comfortable with a higher percentage for common enhancement or for community investment or maybe county advancement. So for me, I think it's a little premature at this stage of the meeting to commit to a percentage. I know this is just a second reading, but we have yet to actually have a discussion at full council, and that was the intent of my report coming out of the Transportation Ad Hoc Committee, to have a conversation in earnest about the number of years, the duration, as well as the amount for the penny. So those are my sentiments at this point. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. And so I had the privilege of attending the committee meeting, and we had very good conversation and dialogue there in that meeting, chaired by Mr. Walker. And so, whereas I don't want to usurp the authority, any authority, or to overstep the recommendation of the committee without hearing it first, I just would just wonder, Mr. Livingston, if you are willing to perhaps change your motion to be able for us to hear what the committee has to say during their appropriate time. We've had plenty of conversation and plenty of dialogue here tonight about how we feel about the different percentages. I think at that point, it's just a matter of discussing, length of time. But to Mr. Walker's point, there were a number of council members that did not attend that meeting. And if you didn't go back and watch it or read the minutes, you might be placed at a disadvantage, and I don't want anyone to be placed there. So to you, Mr. Livingston, you are the wizard, so I don't know how to do it, but, I think that we may need to, at some way, be able to, stop what we're doing right now and move forward with our agenda so that we can get to item 18 to discuss it.
Mr. Barron, I could withdraw my motion if the person who made the second agrees to it, but the problem for me is it will leave the first motion on the table that I don't support.
Understood, and I would even say that to my colleague, Mr. Branham, because we do have time to make these same motions again after we hear the report.
Madam Chair.
But I can also say, I'll have to get the attorney to respond to this too, but clearly, if I withdraw my motion and the second agrees to it, I think there's room for another motion. It could be a deferral, it could be whatever.
Absolutely, I'm here for it.
Or just leave it as it.
Yes, sir. So,
Thank you. Councilman Branham.
I think that's all true, what Councilman Livingston just indicated. I was going to indicate, though, that I would, withdraw my motion as well for the sake of, an orderly conversation. Obviously, I didn't set the order of the agenda. And so, I feel like the timing of the motion that I made was appropriate, and I'm glad it prompted the conversation and the discussion, and that is absolutely what I meant to do. It is a second reading item. This is not the final vote. So I'm happy to withdraw it and, consent to a, some sort of a vote after the committee has given its report.
That said, Madam Chair, I'd like to withdraw my motion.
Ratio.
I will agree to second that, however I need to say it. Yes.
All right. Thank you. So I'm getting the word from the attorney that both parties have withdrew their motion, and so we are now properly in order. So at this point, we need to entertain a motion.
Mr. Branham hasn't actually withdrawn his, Ms. Barron, you agree?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure that was on the record.
Thank you.
For the record, I withdraw my motion.
and I say yes.
Thank you.
And then would it be okay for me to have a motion to defer this item to after the report of the Transportation Ad Hoc Committee?
I'll second that if that's a
Second.
motion.
Yes.
Was that a motion?
That's a motion, yes.
Second.
After what number on what item?
After the report of the item 18.
Thank you. Motion is second. Any Madam Chair.
Branham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Yes.
Teratio, Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker, Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Next item is 15B, authorizing the expansion of the boundaries of the I-77 Corridor Regional Industrial Park jointly developed with Fairfield County to include certain property located in Richland County. The execution and delivery of a public infrastructure credit agreement to provide for public infrastructure credits to Silver Hills, Hugie LLC, and other related matters. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Next item is 15C, an ordinance amending Chapter 17, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, General Traffic and Parking Regulations, Section 17-9, through truck traffic prohibited, so as to include Clearwater Road, Crestwood Road, and Edgewater Drive.
Move to
Move to approve. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
Livingston, Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next is item 15D, an ordinance amending Chapter 12, Solid Waste Recycling and Public Sanitation, Article 7, Enforcement, Section 12-66, Penalties, so as to amend the language therein.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
Livingston, Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Next, item 16, Board of Economic Development Committee. Councilman Livingston, you're recognized.
Madam Chair, item 16A, a resolution certifying property located at 8911 Fair Road as an abandoned buildings site pursuant to the South Carolina Abandoned Building Revitalization Act, Title 12, Chapter 6 or 7 of the Code of the Laws of South Carolina. Committee's recommendation was for approval.
You've heard the committee's recommendation. It's coming out of committee. It need a second. Yes, any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Councilman Livingston?
That completes the report.
Next is item 17, Report of Rules and Appointments Committee. Councilwoman Barron, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The committee does have several nominations or recommendations for appointments, and I'm going to take them one at a time, if I may. And that is 17A1, Accommodations Tax Committee. We had 4 vacancies. We only had 1 applicant, and we are recommending Raquel Felder to be appointed.
Heard the committee's recommendation. Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Councilwoman Barron?
Our next appointment for 17A2 Hospitality Tax Committee, we had 4 vacancies. We only had 1 person to apply, and that person we just appointed. So it is the recommendation of the committee to re-advertise for this vacancy.
Heard the committee's recommendation. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Councilwoman Barron?
Our next appointment for 17A3 for Historic Columbia Board, there were 2 vacancies. The committee recommends to appoint Church Hayward, which is the incumbent, and Deborah Douglas.
You've heard the committee's recommendation. Discussion? Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, just really quickly, I know we're in the middle of this, but there were so many good applicants for Historic Columbia. I wanted to say that since we're making the appointments now here in public, and just say that if folks did not get appointed, please apply for other openings in the future. And we are flattered at how well everyone thinks of Historic Columbia. So, thank you.
Councilwoman Barron?
Thank you, Ms. Teratio. And our last final appointment is for 17A4, which is the Planning Commission. We had 2 vacancies, and the committee would like to recommend Beverly Frierson, incumbent, and Terrence Taylor, which is also the incumbent.
You've heard the committee's recommendations. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Councilwoman Barron?
That completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is item 18, report of the Transportation Ad Hoc Committee. Councilman Walker, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Transportation Ad Hoc Committee met on May the 7th, and we discussed at length the duration as well as the amount and the allocation to the respective categories, for the sales tax. The recommendation from the committee was 25 years, $4.3 billion. That's 40% for community investment, 40% for county advancement, and 20% for comment enhancement.
Thank you. You've heard the committee's recommendation. Madam Clerk? Somebody said they wanted to have discussion. Speak up. Madam Clerk.
Madam Chair.
Okay.
Right here, Madam Chair?
I saw Ms. Teratio first, then Mr. Branham.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you. We've heard the committee's recommendation, and thanks to everybody who brought that before us. And we've also had the discussion that came earlier today. I would move that the duration be 25 years at $4.3 billion, and funding allocation would be as follows. Community investment at 35%, county advancement at, sorry, I just did this math. Yes, comment at 25%, community investment at 35%, and county advancement at 40%. And then add also the minimum for district investment, for community investment at 20 million. Thank you.
All right, that motion dies for a lack of a second.
Second.
All right, y'all.
Next week will be up, Madam Chair.
Chairman Mackey.
Yes, ma'am. We have a motion and a second. We are now in discussion. Councilwoman English, you recognize.
I'd like for Councilman Walker to give me his numbers again.
So Councilman Walker presented a recommendation from the committee, and then Councilwoman Teratio made a separate motion. So
I want to hear.
You want to hear the committee's initial recommendation?
Yes, please.
That's what I say. I don't have a recommendation, but the
Committee has
does.
a recommendation, yes.
Okay.
Not that
Thank you.
powerful.
I got it.
Yes.
Thank you.
But you got it.
Mm-hmm.
So the initial committee's recommendation was 25 years or until the amount of $4.3 billion is reached. with community investment at 40%, county advancement at 40%, and common enhancement at 20%.
Madam Chair. Oh.
Shouldn't we repeat Mr. Ratio's motion, the
No,
substitute motion?
Councilwoman English was specifically asking what was the
Oh, the
initial
committee's report.
recommendation
Okay,
from the
okay.
committee. So I was repeating it for her, for the record.
Okay.
Yes. Councilwoman English, is any further information that you need?
That's it, thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Chair?
Councilwoman Newton, and then Councilwoman Branham.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And this has been a fulsome discussion, some of which would have been great to have before. But for the motion that's on the table from Councilwoman Terracio, which is the 25 years, 4.3 billion, 35% for community investment, 40% for county investment, and then 25% for common investment. Obviously, 5% here and there are not deal breakers per se, but for me, and based on the conversations that we've had, I would prefer to see a greater amount allocated to the community investment as opposed to the county investment. We've just had this big discussion about how very important these projects are to our community. And so I don't know if I even feel like doing a substitute motion. I guess I just want to put it out there for discussion. So for me, I would prefer to see a higher percentage that goes to the community group. So I'll just wait for any additional discussion on this motion.
Councilman Branham.
Thank you. I have a substitute motion that would set the allocations at 50% to county advancement projects, 30% to community investment projects, and 20% to common enhancement projects, with at least 20 million from the community investment and/or the county advancement categories to be spent on improvements within each council district.
The motion dies for lack of a second. So, no, I paused after he made the motion. So there is a pause period if we need to second it. If not, then it does die. That is part of the rule. So this is now the second time. So the Councilman Barron has seconded this motion. Everyone's heard the motion. Yes, sir.
Madam Chair, so if I understand the motion correctly, Councilman Branham, 50% of the revenue, from the sales tax would go towards county advancement projects, with 30% going to community investment and 20% to the common, right?
That is currently Mr. Brannon's
That's the
recommendation.
substitute motion.
Yes.
Which ultimately, which is less investment in the community. Okay, got it.
Councilman Weaver.
Thank you. My question really is for Councilman Branham. So did we lose the minimum 20 million somewhere along the line? Because your original substitute motion had the 20 million in it. Is that still included in your substitute motion? It is. Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Terracio.
Thank you. I just wanted to make a statement around the 20% for the comment. With the amount, and we don't have to get so stuck on percentages, but what those percentages represent in terms of dollar amounts. So with a 20% allocation for the comment would not have capacity to make any improvements. It would only be able to continue status quo, and with cost increases may not even be able to do that. So if we're looking to enhance any kind of public transit, and especially with more people being here, more people being on our roads, more people needing to go to jobs, it would be, I think, wise to have a transit system that people are able to utilize in a very practical way.
Mayor, go right. So I was about to speak. I'll wait till after you. Go right ahead.
Thank you.
So to Ms. Teracio's point, and this, it may come across a little pointed, but I want us to remember some conversations that the same council had about other organizations that came before council who received funds over many years. And we asked them to consider looking for alternative funds. And so whereas this body is making a decision on how much we fund this organization, and I hear you loud and clear saying it does put us at a disadvantage to be able to make some improvements, but I would just also say, does it really? What it does is it encourages us to think differently about how we fund things. It does encourage the comment to look at other funding sources to supplement their budget. We're asking our agencies to do that. We're asking our departments to do that. And so in this case, it is not, it's not that we're trying to be the bad guy here, but we are trying to do the most with what we have. And as we continue to do the most with what we have, we're just asking people and agencies and departments to do some things differently. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
We had Councilman Walker, then Terratio, then Livingston.
I think it's important for my colleagues to remember that the comment is not just any other agency that's coming before council asking for dollars. The way that we fund transit in Richland County is through a penny sales tax. That is where the lion's share of the COMET's funding comes from. Yes, there are other funding sources, but without the penny sales tax, public transit in Richland County would be non-existent. So I know that it's easy to just say, well, they just need to look for other funding sources. But the penny sales tax is their primary funding source. And so when Mr. Terracio, makes, the ask or the suggestion that we ought to consider 25% rather than 20%, that's not a number that's just random or what have you. The COMET, provides a very vital service, for the residents of Richland County as well as businesses. But while they can look at other funding sources, their primary funding source is the penny. And I think we need to keep that in mind as we think about, this, percentage allocation or however we're going to apportion, these dollars. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Terratio?
Thank you so much. And I just wanted to reiterate, unlike some other folks, organizations, departments that might be coming before this body for funding, the COMET is not a 501c3 organization that's looking for funding. The COMET, and if you look at how other transit, how transit is funded across this nation, it is by far funded by local government and then by state and federal government, of which here at the COMET, it would be 39% funded out by outside sources and 61% funded by local sources, which is the penny. A very small percentage of that would be what we would call fare box. And so you could, if you were trying to think about the COMET as a local government function, it would be more akin to something like a government service that's being provided, like, our Sheriff's Department, EMS. Like this is a core government function that is provided. So we can think of it more like that rather than an outside organization that's coming to us looking for us to fund their fund their program.
Thank you. Councilman Livingston, then English, then Barron.
All right, I'll try to be brief. Let me first quickly mention why I decided early on, county advancement probably does not need to be 6%. Now, granted, those are very large and very expensive projects, but what bothers me is the fact that, we're talking about a local Richland County, City of Columbia paying for this penny. And to take more of our funds to worry about wide state roads, it's just not fair to the citizens of Richland County. Because what would happen is the state would then take those funds that they would have used on our roads and spend them somewhere else. And it's that fair to us. And when I say somewhere else, in some other county, that's the reason why I thought that 6% was way too high for that particular reason. I'd much rather see a little bit more in community investment as well as a comment. Keep in mind, when we talk about the comment, Richland County is moving rather rapidly in terms of a very more dense community county. You're going to see more public transportation as a result of that. So I think we need to take seriously and plan for the future when it comes to the comment. So with that said, that's why I made my early motion for 50, 25, 25. If I can live with the one that Mr. Horatio made, but I just think that advancement shouldn't be more than 50% of our money when that's a clearly state responsibility.
Thank you. Ms. English?
My question's been.
Thank you. Councilman Barron?
I just wanted to clarify my statement. I totally understand that the comment is our responsibility, and that it is ours, and it's funded out of the penny. I totally understand that, and I want that to be clear, because somewhere along the line it sounded as if I wasn't certain about what I was saying, and I was clear about that.
Thank you. Councilman Branham?
Thank you. I don't see the state moving money away from Richland County projects because Richland County elects to make improvements to state roads. If we're looking for the cavalry to come and widen Dutch Fork Road, which is a state road, Broad River Road, it's just not coming. It's not coming. The state's got money going to interstates and bridges, and it's got this little pot of money that it gives to the Council of Governments, and it's like, I can't even remember, $30 million or something like that. It's spread over many, many counties and in the Midlands. I don't see any state resources being reallocated because Richland County decided to invest in its citizens' quality of life and help them with their commutes. I mean, those are state roads. Those are roads that I could see qualifying as county advancement projects. Community investment, that sounds like smaller scale projects. County advancement, larger scale projects, they all would benefit the citizens. And, that's my statement on that.
Thank you, Councilman Branham. I think there was a few different comments made during the discussion period. One of the items I did want to, speak about was related to the comment. I do think we all know the importance of the comment in our community and what it brings. One of the things I will say that I wish that the comment would have provided their information sooner to this body so that we could have a full understanding of where COMET is, what they need in the future. And I do think that there are actually all other municipalities within the county provided their information in a timely manner. And that is one thing that I feel as if is missing here, and this is because the COMET did not provide information in a timely manner. I do think it puts the body as a whole at a disadvantage for truly understanding the need and the impact of the COMET. And so I do think the COMET has to acknowledge their part in that, not diminishing the need, but that information was not shared in a timely manner, I think. And so I would highly recommend moving forward that the COMET make sure that information is put to the body and to the public, because it is really useful information that we probably should have shared a little earlier along. The other thing I wanted to just talk about is, as we look at different percentages, DOT and the state as a whole, if we look at funding, the state has not funded DOT nearly at the level that it should be funded. Our gas tax is not where it should be compared to many of our neighboring states. This state does not put our roads as a priority. And so to assume that by using the penny on other things that we now are saying DOT is going to send money somewhere else, there honestly is net money there. The money's not there. to go anywhere else. And for folks in Northeast Columbia, where we are growing and continue to grow, and we know folks are moving there, it's not like the city of Columbia. When you look in Northeast Columbia and Blythewood, majority of our roads that are traveled out there are state roads. And we have been waiting for them to get fixed. And they're not on anybody's list at the state anytime soon. And so I do feel as if this body has to acknowledge where our county is growing and come up with solutions to fix that. And the solution can't be waiting on the state, because we've seen that is not happening anytime soon. And so I understand we have to make percentages, but I don't want us to base these percentages assuming that if we give a higher percentage to one category versus another, that then all of a sudden we lose a DOT opportunity. There is no DOT opportunity coming to fix the county roads or state roads that we need. Any further discussion on this matter at this time?
Well,
Got more, but we need to move.
Madam Clerk?
so what's before us?
We're on,
This is Jason
Mr.
Branham's motion.
Do you need Branham to repeat the motion?
It's 50, 30, 20.
Councilman Branham's motion is for a penny tax collection for a total of 25 years or until the amount collected reaches $4.3 billion, and to allocate the funding as follows: community investment 50%, county advancement 30%, and comment enhancement 20%. It also includes that a minimum of $20 million will be distributed among each district in Richland County. Up to, was that right? Up to 20 million?
20 million, minimum 20 million.
It was
each.
minimum 20 million each district, and that would come out of community investment and or county advancement.
Madam Chair, just one quick note. I believe the number is 4.5 billion, not 4.3 billion.
Is it 4.5 or 4.3, Ray? I'm just going off what's in the packet, so the packet says 4.3. So is it 4.3 or 4.5?
So, Madam Chair and other members of council, in the draft of the ordinance, because we're just dealing with projections on the revenues, so we've rounded it up to 4.5 to give the council the opportunity of benefiting from additional collections. So the ordinance, as before council tonight, says 25 years, 4.5 billion.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
No.
Just
Point of-
clarification. Did the motion include the years?
Yes.
And what was the years?
25 years, $4.5 billion. Madam Clerk.
Hold on, no, I apologize.
We are taking the vote.
Yes, but I heard you repeat the motion the opposite of how I wrote it down originally, and I really, really apologize. So it was 50% for community and 30% for county advancement? Okay, thank you. That's fine. That's how
Madam
I heard
Clerk,
it.
would you clarify, or would you like me to?
No, I'm good.
Are you good? Okay.
That's not.
Branham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
Livingston,
No.
Teratio,
no.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
Oh,
Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
No.
Motion approved.
that completes the report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Now going to item, originally it was 15A, the second reading item that was deferred until after the Transportation Ad Hoc Committee report. So authorizing the imposition of a 1% transportation sale and use tax within Richland County pursuant to section 4.37-30 of the Code of Laws of South Carolina 1976 as amended, determining the categories of projects to be funded within the tax, the maximum time for imposition of the tax, and the estimated capital cost of the projects, directing the Board of Voter Registration and Elections of Richland County to conduct a countywide referendum on the imposition of the tax and the issuance of general obligation bonds, prescribing the contents of the ballot questions and other related matters. I'll entertain a motion on the second reading
Move to
item.
approve.
Second.
We have a motion for approval and a second. So for clarification, Yes. Attorney McLean?
You're moving to approve the language as written in the agenda packet without any of the changes y'all just voted on? Is that what your motion is now? I just want to verify.
Move to approve as amended through.
The committee's
items.
recommendation.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so we have an amended motion from Councilwoman English. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion and second. Any discussion? Councilman Weaver?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not 100% sure what I'm voting on. Are we saying we're going back to the committee's recommendation as opposed to?
Yes, so Councilwoman English's recommendation is for the ordinance to be updated based upon the motion that was just taken during the committee's report.
Would that negate Councilman Branham's motion?
No, sir, her motion is that, but it would be to put it in the ordinance language.
Oh, okay. Then I'm good. Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Newton.
Thank you. And this question may be for Ray Jones. I'm not sure who it's for. But when we look at the community investment category, I guess from my perspective, I never considered that state roads could not be included in that category. Because when you look at my area where we live, state roads are our local roads. And so I guess, we just went through this whole rigmarole. We went through this whole long discussion about what category is county advancement, and there's a long discussion about state roads. But I guess I just want to confirm or clarify, can state road improvements also be part of that community category? Because that's how I read it.
Madam Chair,
You're recognized.
state roads can be part of both county advancement and community investment category.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh, now you want me to rush?
Say we vote.
Madam Clerk.
Branham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
No.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker,
No.
Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
No.
Motion approved.
I didn't hear it.
All right, next is item 19, report of the Affordable Housing Ad Hoc Committee. Councilwoman Teratio, you recognize?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the Affordable Housing Ad Hoc Committee met on May 7th, and we have a recommendation to direct the administrator to create an RFQ to award up to $4 million for affordable housing to focus on down payment programs, giving priority to teachers, first responders, public servants, and rehabilitation of existing units. So that is the motion that came from the
Recommendation that came
Yes.
from,
Affordable Housing Ad Hoc Committee.
yes, ma'am. Any discussion? They give priority to teachers, first responders, public servants, and rehabbing existing units. To focus on down payment programs as well was in there. Madam Clerk.
Branham,
Oh.
Pugh,
Yes.
Livingston,
Mr. Livingston.
Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker, Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Councilwoman Teratio?
That concludes my report.
Thank you. Next, item 20, other items.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am, you're recognized.
move to approve items 20A, 1 and 2.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on items 20A. What did you say? I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
But there's an A1 and an A2. Am I looking at the wrong agenda?
You are.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
why it
so
threw me
sorry.
off.
Okay. All the items there. Sorry, 20A through C.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Newton. Is there a second? Second. A motion and a second for items 28 through C. Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
Livingston, Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker, Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Madam Chair,
Recognize.
motion for reconsideration.
Second.
Motion and a second for reconsideration.
Brenham,
No.
Pugh,
No.
Livingston, Teratio,
No.
Weaver,
No.
Barron, Walker, Mackey,
No.
English,
No.
Newton.
No.
Motion fails.
Next item is item 21, executive session items, and we do not have any. Item 22, motion period. I did not receive any motions in advance of this meeting.
Move to adjourn.
Item 23,
Move to adjourn.
second. A motion and a second for adjournment. Madam Clerk?
Brenham,
Yes.
Pugh, Livingston, Teratio,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Walker, Mackey,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Motion approved.